Fighting Bob's Cheese, Monday, November the 2nd, 2020. Dear Chris, it was 44 years ago that I encountered my first American election. My elementary school teacher in Karachi, Mrs. Kitterer, was an avid politico and assigned a state to each pupil for the 1976 election. Our task was to write to each state house for information. We were given names by surname, and as mine started with a Z, I got the boring leftover state of Wisconsin, along with the chuckles of my classmates. I grudgingly wrote to the state capital of Madison, while others wrote to the resonant names such as Albany, Sacramento, Austin, and Tallahassee. About a month later, we all received a packet of papers, mostly rather dry state brochures. Mine declared that Wisconsin was America's dairyland, known for its cheese, its Scandinavian population, and progressive politicians, most famously Robert Bob La Follette. Whilst others had pictures of skyscrapers, Disneyland, cowboys and beaches, I had dairy farms, cheese shapes, and a photo of Fighting Bob. I was miffed. On election day, our class was bussed over to the American consulate in Karachi, which at that time was an accessible building opposite Frere Hall in central Karachi. Inside, there was a large red, white and blue board with the name of each state on a slate. When the state was called, it would be moved under the Democratic or Republican column. The consulate served Kool-Aid and butter cookies with sprinkles. We were all focused more on the movement of the cookies than of the states, and after a few non-committal hours, we were bussed back to school. The next day, Mrs. Kitterer announced that the Democrat, Jimmy Carter, had won. At the end of the class, she called me up, and I thought I was in trouble given my lack of enthusiasm. Instead, she handed me a bundle, a late-arrived package from Wisconsin, inside of which was a green and gold T-shirt from Green Bay Packers football team, along with a pennant for my wall. Cheesy Fighting Bob's Wisconsin and I became immediate, firm friends, setting a lifelong presidential election relationship. In the election of 2016, Donald Trump won Wisconsin by less than 1%. Today, Biden is marginally slated to take the state's 10 electoral votes. Wisconsin is part of the 3 states, including Michigan and Pennsylvania, that look likely to decide this election. These 3 states share a rural and farming heritage and all have a long history of independent thinking. It will be the turnout of these progressive thinkers that will be key for a Biden win. And the pollsters are all currently expecting them to vote for Joe, overlooking their penchant for backing fighters and underdogs. The fact that 3 small electoral states will decide the election and not the big states of New York, California, Texas or Florida is testament to the lesson that Mrs. Kitterer drilled into our heads. It is the Electoral College and not the vote count that matters. A uniquely American view of democracy. Along with this lesson, I still have my T-shirt. See you next week, Mustafa.